Hey everyone, welcome back. Time for another movie review. And yesterday I went to the theater with a few people and saw Transformers Age of Extinction. So right now I'm going to give a quick review of it. Not sure when this video is going to go up though. As of recording this is the 3:30 p.m. on the 28th. I saw it the 3:45 showing on the 27th, opening day. So yeah. So Transformers Age of Extinction, I already did a review of the first Transformers movie since I recently saw that. And, you know, as I said, it was okay. It definitely had lots of really cool action scenes, but my biggest issue with it was the pacing. I do really want to see the second and third movie sometime in the future. But Age of Extinction was an amazing movie. Okay. Oh my god. Really, there's only one major issue that I found with the movie, and I'll get into that later. But Transformers Age of Extinction takes place roughly like 4 or 5 years after the Battle of Chicago, which apparently happened in the third movie, Dark of the Moon. Okay. And stars a whole new cast of characters for some reason, because it takes place in Texas now, so I don't know, I mean, obviously it's a direct sequel, it takes place in the same universe, but I'm wondering why they switched over to a new cast of characters, although it would be interesting for future sequels since they said they were planning a fourth movie, or a fifth movie, maybe even a sixth movie if the others would end up showing up again. But anyways though, stars a whole new cast of human characters, I guess I should say. There's Cade Yeager, who's a single father and struggling inventor and the main human character, played by Mark Wahlberg. And then there's Tessa Yeager, Cade's teenage daughter, played by Nicola Peltz. And then there's lots of government, lots of government characters too, including that one guy who's obviously a James Bond parody. Like, really? So yeah, but there's lots of interesting human characters in here, but all of them are brand new. And in terms of the Transformers, there's the Autobots, Optimus Prime, voiced by Peter Cullen, Bumblebee, voiced by, I can't see who voices him. I guess no one. Hound, voiced by John Goodman. Crosshairs, voiced by John DiMaggio. Drift, voiced by Ken Watanabe. Ratchet, voiced by Robert Foxworth. Brains, voiced by Reno Wilson. And then there's Leadfoot, who I guess he doesn't have a voice actor, whatever. Then there's the Dinobots. Yes, the Dinobots have finally made an appearance. There's Grimlock, Strafe, and Slug. Which Grimlock is a Tyrannosaurus Rex, Strafe is a Pterodon, and Slug is a Triceratops, and then there's also Scorn, who is a Spinosaurus. I didn't know there was such thing as a Spinosaurus, but whatever. And anyways though, but there's really two main plots of this movie. The first is that the US government, due to the destruction caused by the Transformers in the Battle of Chicago, are trying to sever ties with them. So they're basically just a bunch of douchebags. Granted, not everyone in the government does, but the ones who actually have the most power in this regard do. They want to sever ties with the Autobots. Okay. And the Autobots are fed up with it. Even Optimus Prime, after he declares to kill the one responsible for this, even though he swore never to kill humans, he and his Autobots just want to leave. However, the other plot is that they actually bring in they mention anyways, the Quintessons. I don't think they actually name them, but basically in the Transformers lore, the Quintessons are the ones that created all Transformers, and they basically want the Autobots back now to basically dismantle them. And so they send in these other special robots. I'm not exactly sure what they are. But they're these other special Transformers to basically collect them. And those two major plot makes up the plot of this movie. And then of course you have Cade Yeager, who ends up finding Optimus Prime's truck in his garage and decides to fix him. At first, it's just because he wanted to get the money out of turning him in, because the the Autobots are basically on the run now, and anyone who finds them, if they call in and turn them in, they'll get a $25,000 reward. Okay, but eventually he ends up growing attached to them, and him and his daughter and their friend and his daughter's boyfriend decides to help them out. Okay, and that basically sums up the plot of this movie. Right, sorry about that, guys. But yeah, that's basically the plot of this movie. It was very interesting. Okay, because towards the end of the movie, I actually thought that Optimus Prime was going to die. However, I already knew ahead of time that they were planning a fifth movie, so I knew that wasn't actually going to happen. I actually found out before watching the movie that they are planning a fifth movie, and there's actually a cliffhanger at the end of the movie, which proves that. Okay. Basically, I'm guessing in the fifth movie they're probably going to go after, actually reveal and name the Quintessons or whatever. But anyways, though, really, I loved almost everything about this movie. It was such an enjoyable experience. The effects, like they were in the first movie, were amazing. Okay. The music was incredible. I don't think, though, that they have the soundtrack or the album on a Wikipedia page yet, but the music was incredible. The action was so intense, way more intense than the first movie. Again, I haven't watched 2 or 3, but the action in this movie was so phenomenal. Like, really. And the most interesting part is you actually had character depth, even more so, for Optimus Prime in this movie, because really he asked Cade Yeager a valid question, and Cade gave the generic response, just have more faith in us. But Optimus Prime raised a valid question: how many more of his Autobots needed to die for the humans' mistakes? And Cade does bring up the truth. He says, making mistakes is all part of being human, and sometimes those mistakes can turn into great things. But the problem is, Optimus Prime needed to think about his own race and save as many of his kind as he could. And really, that's why actually, come to think of it now, I have 2 major issues with this movie. Personally, I really wish they would have went more into depth with that. Granted, this movie was damn near 3 hours long, so if they would have done that, they probably would have had to cut out a few of the action scenes, which I would have been fine with as long as they didn't cut out too many of them, and maybe just included 5 or maybe 10 minutes additional at the very most for that actual scene. Okay. Another issue, which I guess was just a minor nitpick, it doesn't count as my second complaint really, is that even though that the original cast was in here, I wish that they were at least referenced, which they weren't, which kind of sucked. But really, my final complaint is that I felt the movie just ended so abruptly. So at the end of the movie, there was all sorts of fighting, gunfire, jumping, landing, explosions, and everything. Then Optimus Prime takes the seed, which is like this nuke which the Quintessons wanted to use to destroy humanity, basically. And he takes it far into outer space, and then the movie just ends with him giving his final speech, he always does, I am Optimus Prime. And I don't remember the exact words, but he's like, and this is a message to our creators. Leave Earth alone, or I'm coming for you, or something like that. Something along those lines. And I have to admit, it was a really epic speech, and that was really the cliffhanger part, which I was really excited for, because in 2016 or 17 or something like that, we're getting the next movie, which I'm very excited for. So overall, despite my complaints I had in this review, I very much enjoyed this movie. I definitely think it was great, despite all the hate that I know it's going to get. Okay, I love this movie, and yeah, But the best part I do think was the action, although I do like a lot of the character depth that they added to all the characters, including Optimus Prime. Because in the first movie, which again is the only one I watched so far besides this, he didn't really get a lot of character depth, and I like that he did in this movie. So yes, but anyways, overall, hope you enjoyed this review, guys. These after guys, thanks for watching. Bye bye.